Time for Focus. Today we have a report from central Italy on survivors of last August's earthquake. Some 300 people were killed, thousands left homeless. While some victims moved away, others chose to stay in the affected region. A region hit by several quakes in the last few months, and many mayors are frustrated at the slow pace of rebuilding. Josephine McKenna reports.
The clock on the tower stopped at 3:38 a.m, the precise moment when last August's earthquake brutally woke the residents of Amatrice and left the town in ruins. Like most of the town's inhabitants, Angela D'Annunzio lost her home in the earthquake, and since then she's relied on her wits to survive.
This is my caravan. They lent it to me while I waited for them to give me a place to live. At first, I slept in a tent, but I couldn't sleep there anymore. It was too cold with the snow.
D'Annunzio also lost her job as a housekeeper after the quake, but despite the upheaval, she's decided to stay here with her family.
My son sleeps here on this little bed, and I sleep down there. The past 6 months have been a nightmare. Several times I thought of leaving. But I want to stay. Because my heart is here. I've lived here for more than 20 years.
D'Annunzio is not the only one who refuses to leave. In this region, more than 3,000 farms were damaged by the quake. Antonio DeMarco and his family have been farmers here for 3 generations. For DeMarco, leaving is out of the question, even though part of his farm was destroyed.
Look, the roof beams and the walls have collapsed. It will have to be demolished. And over there was a small stable where calves were born. Now everything has gone.
DeMarco lost 40 cows after the earthquake, and his milk production has been cut by more than 2/3.
Down there are the beams that can collapse at any time. In fact, it is risky to stay here because this building is so damaged. The ceiling could fall on us if the earth moves.
He's worried. The earth hasn't stopped moving here for the past 6 months. Since August, more than 53,000 quakes and tremors have been recorded in an area which has 300 towns. Given the extent of the damage, many have given up and left. Around 100 kilometres to the east, we reach the Adriatic coast. San Benedetto del Tronto is a seaside resort packed with tourists in the summer. Here, several hotels are housing quake victims. They all share the feeling of being uprooted.
It's like an exile. We're far from home, and all of our thoughts are still there.
We're not comfortable here. It can't replace our home.
At least once a week, I go back home. Each time my heart breaks a little more.
Stefano Petrucci also lives in this hotel. Since 2004, he's been the mayor of Accumuli, one of the towns worst hit by the earthquake. Every morning, he leaves the hotel early to go to his town hall in the Apennines. On the way, he sees ruins everywhere.
Look at the state of devastation of this village down there. That was Pescara del Tronto. Here 50 people died, and today it is totally destroyed. There's nothing left.
We arrive in the centre of Accumuli. Here, the landscape speaks for itself. In this town, 75% of the houses have been declared uninhabitable by the Civil Protection Department.
This was the main square, where people used to come and meet up, spend time with one another. There was a bar and a pharmacy.
Most of the houses are not insured for earthquakes, so the Italian state has to finance reconstruction. But the administrative procedures seem endless when dealing with the government bureaucracy.
We could go much faster, but we must respect national regulations that do not allow us to act more quickly. Here we've been at a full stop since Christmas.
After the town hall was destroyed, the mayor and his staff moved to this prefabricated building. Their priority this morning is to clear the streets.
This stretch of road must be cleared immediately so that our teams can pass through and secure the buildings.
Initial estimates say it will take 10 years to rebuild all these towns. To help bring families back, a prefabricated school has opened its doors in Amatrice. And the army has been dispatched to help build temporary, earthquake-resistant homes. The first 25 were assigned to people in a type of draw. Among the lucky ones is Angela D'Annunzio, who has come for the first time to see her future home.
I can't believe my eyes. I can't. Excuse me, I'm a little emotional. After this ordeal, I'm beginning to see the light.
A light at the end of the tunnel. But the task of rebuilding these towns will be challenging. And the cost of the damage is estimated to be more than 23 billion euros.
For more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by Badawi Rouban. He's a natural disasters expert who works for UNESCO. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. Now, why is it that this part of Italy has experienced so many strong earthquakes in such a short amount of time?
Yes, Italy itself is an earthquake-prone country because Italy is squeezed between two, we call tectonic plates. Two tectonic plates, that is the African plate and the Eurasian plate, which converge in Italy. So in this junction, we have Italy, which this convergence has created what we call the Apennine chain of mountains. Then in this particular region affected by the earthquake, we have also a mosaic of microplates, which also struggle each other. So these struggling of microplates creates faults, tectonic faults, which cause earthquakes. Now, Italy in this region has entered what we call a seismic sequence, a seismic crisis, not only last August, but also as early as 2009, when we had the L'Aquila earthquake. So we should probably expect that this crisis will require a few years before it diminishes.
Why a few years? Are there trends? There are ways of analysing the pattern of these earthquakes to get an idea of what the next few years hold?
I mean, this is a scenario. It may already be at the end of the sequence, at the end of the crisis, but it may also be a crisis which will require few more years to conclude. It's difficult to determine today exactly what is going to be the exact scenario.
Okay.
What will be needed is to get prepared.
I wanted to speak to you about this because, well, first of all, when they're rebuilding in this part of Italy, they're obviously going to build some new buildings. But one of the reasons it was particularly destructive is because there are old buildings. Is it possible to make these old buildings earthquake-proof, or at least reinforce them quite a bit?
Right. We have, of course, the old buildings, which are cultural monuments sometimes. We have also more recent buildings. Regarding the existing old buildings, what we should do is to retrofit these buildings through simple techniques by putting some beams and some pillars, which would, in a way, reinforce the structure of the house, of the building. Regarding the more recent building, we should also look at the concrete, how these buildings were reconstructed. Most probably these recent buildings were built by the 1970s, after the Second World War, when we did not have in Italy an earthquake-resistant building code. So most of the buildings, not only in the region of Marche, but also in Italy, most of the buildings were constructed before 1973, when the earthquake building code is introduced. So we have to strengthen all buildings. We have to also look into more recent buildings to also retrofit them. And we also need to prepare the populations to look into the land use planning and to look into the way the schools, the primary buildings, the hospitals, the schools are prepared.
They could have drills.
Absolutely, absolutely. In Italy, they do have drills. They do have drills, but perhaps not sufficiently. In Japan, there are drills regularly. In Japan, there is an effort to look into specific buildings like schools or hospitals or ministries. So we need to have a comprehensive approach for this risk, which is going to live with them for the next several years.
It's going to take some time.
Prime Minister Matteo Renzi last summer announced the launch of a national plan for Italy for earthquake resistance. He called it the Casa Italia plan. So let's hope that this plan will be implemented to make Italy more safe against earthquakes and other natural hazards.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Bedoui Houban. Thanks for coming in for today's Focus. Thank you for watching.